If Kamala Harris wins the election, what happens next? If we listen to people like Tim Pool and general right-wing media, we would believe the world is going to come to an end. This country is going to become totally wokeified. The military will be woke. Everything's going to be woke. We're all going to have to wear masks and stand 6 feet from each other, even though there's no pandemic, just for fun. We're going to be in FEMA camps. However, if we're not totally insane, then we realize that that's not going to happen. But what will happen after Kamala Harris wins? Is she going to do all these wonderful things that she's been claiming that she's going to do? The opportunity economy? She's going to do some of that stuff, I'm sure, which I guess is better than not. But I'm not too confident she's going to get a lot of that stuff done. I'm expecting a lot of excuses. One of the key things I'm expecting is as soon as she wins, all of a sudden, she's not going to be talking so much about the opportunity economy anymore. We're not going to hear anything about these programs and the down payment assistance and whatever else she's been talking about that people like. She's not going to talk about it anymore, most of that stuff. And then most of the liberals will be letting it slide. Well, at least we didn't get Trump, even though her not delivering means we get Trump next time or somebody worse. But anyway, you're going to have people like myself that are going to be like, hey, what's the deal? She said she's going to do all this stuff. Why is she not doing it? What's happening, man? What's the deal? What's she waiting on? Then you're going to have the apologists are going to go in full force. You don't know how politics works. You got to give her time. She just won the election. This is new for her. Give her time to settle in and you know, get her bearings or whatever. However, that rhetoric is not going to change. 1 year goes by, 2 years go by, right? Well, it will change, but it's going to change when it's almost too late. So the ending of her term, when still a lot of stuff hasn't gotten done, then they're going to move the goalposts to someplace else. But ultimately, that's how I expect that to go. But the most important factor is the left is going to go to sleep, right? All the liberals and many of the progressives are going to go to sleep. All the noise they're making and Project 2025 and Trump and this and we're going to, democracy is on the ballot, right? All those same people hooting and hollering are going to have not much to say if Kamala wins. They're going to be like, yes, she won. We did it. Did what? Voting is only the beginning. If that's all you do, you're wasting your time. The most important thing comes after the vote. But that's not what they're going to do. They're not going to vote and then be engaged and push Kamala to deliver, which will mean she actually does deliver most or all of that stuff if they actually push her to. If you force her to, then she's going to have to do it, right? But if you don't force her to, then we're going to be at her mercy. Whatever she feels like doing, she does. And whatever she doesn't feel like doing, she doesn't do, with little to no consequences, right? So the big problem with Kamala Harris's term, if she wins, because of the way democracy works, is more going to be on the people than it is on her. I mean, I guess in fairness, we start with her. She's the one who ran on whatever she runs on. So if she's not working to deliver these things, that's really on her. But democracy is power from the people, right? We're the ones in the driver's seat, not her, right? She is a Tesla, right? Not the best car. You got big gaps and different issues and recalls and whatever. But when it works, you know, it can be a good experience, right? And you got the self-driving thing where you can sit down and you push a button, that's the vote, right? And then you can sit back and watch, right? And you can complain, oh my goodness, it almost hit that car. Oh my goodness, it almost hit that car. Oh my goodness, why is it going so slow? Why doesn't it go around, right? Complaining about the self-driving, right? You don't need to use the self-driving, right? You are the one in control. You voted for the self-driving, but you can modify the settings, right? Or ultimately, if things get bad enough, you can take control. You're sitting in the driver's seat. You can grab the steering wheel and you can steer the ship, right? So when Kamala Harris wins, the biggest thing is really going to be on we the people because we're the ones in the driving seat, right? I mean, just like with the analogy I gave you, you know, if the car crashes, you're in that car, you're going to die, right? So you're going to sit there and passively whine and complain, or you're going to take charge and grab the steering wheel so you don't crash. Are you going to allow Kamala to win and then don't fight for the things that she ran on and don't deliver on the things that she ran on so that we can crash as a country? Or are you going to take charge, adjust the settings, or grab the steering wheel, right? Which is you putting pressure. All that energy people put when the Democrats are out of office, right? That you need to do that while they're in office. Because if Trump wins, there's going to be all kinds of protests and people fighting and we got to stop him, we got to get him, and Trump is doing this and right? Take that same energy, right? And apply it to when a Democrat wins. If Kamala wins, go after her to make sure she delivers, right? Don't celebrate her just for winning, right? Make sure she does the job, right? Because we're hiring her to do a job. Make sure she's doing her job. And then you can reward her at the end if she actually delivers. Or you can punish her if she doesn't, right? But ultimately, we are the boss. If she wins, she works for us. We are the boss. If we don't manage our worker, then we can't really complain about the results. But the other alternative in terms of what could happen after, you know, if she wins, is you could say that, you know, all of her crazy policies crashes the economy and everything gets really bad and inflation goes through the roof. That's not going to happen. Now, that's not to say all of our plans are perfect and they're all going to be a perfect result, but I'm pretty sure the range of what we're going to get from Kamala is either much more of the same, which some would say is bad enough as it is, or we might get a slight improvement, or we could get significant improvement, or on the bottom end of it, we get a slight dip, right? Now, unfortunately, a crisis can happen at any time, and if something crazy happens while she's in office and it really hurts us, they're going to blame her for it, and maybe that's right, depending on is she responsible for the thing. But let's say, for example, another pandemic happens and she does her best, but the economy gets devastated, right? They're going to paint it as, you know, she failed, blah. But outside of that, if it's just a normal 4 years, I mean, normal for 4 years doesn't mean it's perfect. Things will happen, but nothing extreme like a pandemic or whatever. Then worst case scenario, we might see, like if you look at the graph, look at a 10-year graph, you might barely notice the downward trend under her leadership, right? The biggest thing that might happen under her leadership is we could see a big trend in a positive direction. I wouldn't say anything massive, but at least something that's visible on a 10-year graph. So on a 10-year graph, the biggest thing we might see is if she actually tries to deliver on what she does, and we might see something moderate progress for the country, and that will be visible. That kind of change will be visible. But her failures, I don't think are going to show on a massive level. And I am leaning more towards much of the same. So 4 years under Kamala is going to look much like 4 years under Joe Biden, in spite of some tweaks that she might do. You know, she was better at this than Biden was. But if you look at the, you know, if you step back and zoom out for the 10-year timeline, I don't think she's really going to move the needle one way or the other. But if she does move the needle, I think it'll be in a positive direction. That's if she actually tries to do what she says she's going to do. Anyway, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell, be well. This traffic is hell. My goodness. Well, speaking of you guys, help the time to go by a little bit, even though this video is only less than 10 minutes long. But anyway, all right, guys.